This is the 42nd episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of May 2011. This episode is titled Virtualized Comedy. CloudFocus Weekly is sponsored by Arkus, cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me in the very, very funny self that he is, and always makes me laugh a little bit, is the co-host of this podcast and many other things, Justin Elsing. Justin, how are you doing today?
The brains behind the operation, obviously.
I'm
doing well, thank you.
We have some cloudy news to talk about.
Do we ever?
Yes, we do.
Isn't that always what we talk about?
It is true.
One day we're just going to surprise people. We're going to talk about like
a
IBM,
sports team or something.
DB2 and
just
sitting on WebSphere or something or other.
Just come out and just do like the whole podcast about like, I don't know, sports or something.
Football.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like some team. Just pick a team.
Jets?
Nah, no. Alrighty, so we do have a few things on the agenda. We have a new blog post up on Arkus, on blog.arkusinc.com.
Written by the partner who shall remain nameless.
Yes, it's his rotation. Actually, I started reading a book called The Corporate Blogging Book. So
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone of our listeners has picked up on our rotation.
They can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's every other week, or every third week.
You can't even figure it out.
It's every third week.
There you go.
Yeah. So, talk about that for a second. We have maybe a possible leak to...
Say no more.
All right. A Google leak. A leakage. All right. We have some chatter and ways to get free money. You can chat some free money.
I like free money.
Yeah. Pandora does something funny. And we'll end up with a little bit of sad news, but I'm going to spin it into something interesting, maybe interesting talk about Rackspace. So let's kick it off with Larry's blog post.
Sure.
Entitled
Flight Check. Preparing for your first flight into the clouds.
Nice. I like that title.
Take some Dramamine.
Yes.
Get ready.
Basically, you know, we all have our different topics, and again, reading this book, this corporate blogging book, one of the things that she's definitely saying is make sure it's just legitimate. Make sure it's, you know, who you are, talking about who you are. And so since Larry deals a lot with clients on the first side, you know, on the beginning stages of dealing with Salesforce, we tend to deal with more of them, you know, as we're going through the project, but it's sort of that first conversation. So he posted a little roundup, I guess, of the things you should be preparing for, you know, looking at, getting yourself ready for, mainly going into Salesforce. It is the cloud, but it was pretty Salesforce focused. A few things like, give me one of the tips.
Relax and buckle up.
Good one.
Yeah, I'll just read the headers. Relax and buckle up, right? Get, don't feel like you need to know everything. People are there to help you, whether it be, this really is focused on a Salesforce quick start, but, you know, a Salesforce account exec, a partner like Arkus, experts in the field. There are many out there, blogs to read, so relax. You're not diving off the, you know, into the deep abyss all on your lonesome.
I'll spin this into something interesting.
Please do.
I'll save us.
Please save me from the not interesting banter I was just going.
All right. I'll save everybody else as well. We had a client who used a competitor. I'm not going to mention any names. So they'll remain innocent. They were on a competitor. They looked at Salesforce as one of many.
I remember this.
Yes. Well, because you were involved in the project.
I was.
And the product, you know, from all intents and purposes, did most of anything. It did all the sort of sales,
the competitor product.
The competitor product.
Yeah, some basic CRM stuff.
But ultimately, the project failed, and within a month or two into the project of trying to roll it out, they couldn't do stuff. They ran into brick walls. There were features that weren't working. There were bugs. Some of it, I will say, came from the product itself, meaning it just didn't have the features, or it had bugs, or they were saying these things work when they didn't really work. Part of it. But some of it, I think, came because they tried to do it themselves. And this is a story that we hear a lot. And if I'm going to take off my consulting hat, I'm throwing it over there in the corner.
Oh, just got dirty.
Yeah. In that every statistic we've read, whether it come from the foundation, where we read about nonprofits moving on to Salesforce or their utilization, to, again, our clients, while you can certainly do this stuff yourself to some degree, very smart people, there is there's a much bigger uplift, much better success rate, full adoption if you use someone to help you and use an implementation partner. So
like Arkus.
But someone in your industry, someone who's doing the exact thing you're doing. They've done it before. They've seen some of the questions. They've dealt with the data. They've dealt with training. These are things that So I think the blog post really kind of sets that up, and then says it's there's lots of stuff you should be looking at. It's not really a sales pitch, but it's saying there's a lot of things you should be considering. The ultimate thing is you can do it, and you'll get there.
I'll just read the headers.
All right.
Relax and buckle up.
Good.
We went over that piece.
Yep.
Detail your data. So think about what kind of things are important for you and your business and your process that you're tracking and making decisions around. Visualize your visibility. So think about the level of permissions and visibility into data that is going to now be available in a system that, if it's in an Excel spreadsheet, well, what can you do? Well, you can lock the sheet
or it sits on someone's desktop.
Sits on someone's desktop so no one else can see, right? Automation away. So, that's towards the end. Like, think about some of the things that you do that you can potentially automate and have a computer do for you. And data migration. So think about legacy data from systems or spreadsheets. Generally, we see a lot of spreadsheets. That you want to have available in the system.
Right.
And those are kind of the 5 high-level
So that blog
headers.
post, as well as all our blog posts dating back for a while now, tons of them, even on our rotation. Available on blog.arkusinc.com. So go there and read that one or the other ones. We actually got some hit off of the permission sets one that went up.
Yeah, the one we talked about last week on the pod, but wrote about 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Got some good action.
That's good. Next up, did Google Geek its Facebook killer?
First of all, Google's not killing Facebook anytime soon.
No time soon.
Let me start there.
Yeah. So there's been long rumors for a long time. Many
long ago, far away,
in a galaxy far away, that Google has been working on a social networking competitor to Facebook.
Again? You should say again, because they've tried this a few times.
You could say it was Buzz. You could say
Orkut.
You could say, they've had a lot of social elements in some
their profile.
Yep.
The search, the search thing where you plus it, or sharing in Google Reader and your account. They've had a lot of forays.
So this new one has this new ad for Chrome, which was a very cute ad. Did you watch the ad?
No.
I actually watched this morning. It was cute. It's basically a guy chronicling his daughter's life from birth through 5 or 6 years old using Google tools. So sending her emails ever since she was born, and sending her photos and pictures and stuff.
Like Picasso,
yeah,
Gmail, things like that.
It's cute though, because he's writing it to her, right? She can't obviously read, but saying and this was the day that we were very worried about you because she was sick in the hospital. And a picture of her. Really cute commercial. Anyway, spin that around to, interesting that sub news. Interesting that they're doing TV advertisements for Chrome, right? That's interesting news in itself. But
didn't they have a commercial and it was a big deal one time? It was just a search commercial. It was 3 years ago. It was a big deal.
They did one I think they did one a couple months ago, which was they did one for the Super Bowl, which was the typing in.
Oh right.
And it kind of followed thing. That was really good. So but does Google need to advertise? That's sort of crazy. So. In the ad, there's one shot of, and of course someone out there is watching, apparently, very closely, of this little icon of a little plus one icon in the toolbar.
It's like the thing that now shows up in your search results.
Yes.
Where you can plus something.
So is this Google's idea or fight on liking? I'm liking things.
Well, that plus sign's kind of out there, right? You go to Google and I don't know, search for Google, and you'll.
I so rarely search for Google on Google.
I
search for ASDF.
It's odd because sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. There it is, the little +1 thing that was in the ad. It's right next to the result or the name of the result, and you can click it and that recommends the page, right? I imagine it goes into PageRank and does something. Maybe it feeds to your friends in the future.
So here's where I think that, we can all poo-poo Google saying, you're not going to be able to get away Facebook. But they've got a couple things going for them. One is their browser, right? Well, first one is their search, in that they've already started connecting Facebook and Twitter into search, where it'll say these come from your social network, and it does some interesting things. So that's a powerful thing. Second of all, they own a browser. When you own a browser, as Microsoft has proven over and again, you can do some powerful stuff. If you build things into the browser, you can make it work a certain way, and you can make things really kind of stand out. They own an operating system that runs on a lot of smartphones, Android. And Facebook doesn't. Facebook doesn't have search, but they do have a search engine in their own thing. They don't have their own devices. They don't have their own operating system. They don't have their own browser. So, you could see where Google could come in and say, well, we're gonna really tie these things together, and we're gonna make a big stand.
You could also see how Google has never been able to do that before.
Oh, true.
They just always fall on their face when they try and do this stuff.
I think the way that it'll work, just because all other social networking has sort of grown, is if it extends Facebook. If it's something that connects to Facebook and extends Facebook, allows me to use it either with or without Facebook, and kind of connect it up, that's when I'm in.
Well, the thing that, Buzz was kind of a novel idea, but the reason why these things, for me, get used is because other people are using them. So, I started trying to use Buzz, and no one else was really using it, so then I stopped. And it was like, all right, this is kind of useless if nobody else is using it. And the only thing that I seemed to see people doing was connecting their Twitter up to it. And it was like, all right, well, I can just go on Twitter. It just didn't seem to feel like it had that network effect of my friends or people I cared about connecting with, right, actually being there. But they have to be there.
That's what Facebook has now, but Facebook didn't have that to start. So Facebook, when we first went on Facebook, when I tried Facebook by going back to my college and getting an alumni email from them just so I could get into Facebook, there was no one there. It was like, okay, this is great. So I think it's interesting, but Google has people. They have people logged into Gmail. They have enough platform that I think if they built something very smart and very compelling, that if you could tie in the maps, you could tie in the Gmail, if you could tie in Places, if you could tie in Chrome, and you could make it all work in a way that no one felt invaded by that, and search, I think you could do some interesting stuff. Whether they're going to do that, I don't know. But anyway, so it was a small leak. We don't even know if it was a leak. But always an interesting thing to talk about, because when this thing comes, we'll be thrilled. All right, on to some Chatter news.
Chatter.
Two pieces of Chatter news.
Chatter.
One is Chatter has a new blog, blog.chatter.com.
Yeah.
So I assume they're going to talk about Chatter stuff.
Yeah, probably.
That's neat. And the second is that they're giving away gift certificates if you can refer 3 friends. So refer 3 people and get $20 in a gift certificate.
I don't really understand how this. I was the one who put this on our agenda in our Google Wave.
Nice. Well done.
I'm not really sure exactly how this works, right? You put in your name, and then you put in your email, and then you can refer people by sending them an email. But what if you, put in, Justin@gmail.com?
One of your other 17 emails?
Well, I
think they have to click on it.
Yeah, but, and then I sign up with, Justin@gmail.com is not going to work for a Chatter edition. And I can't sign up for Chatter.com with Justin@gmail.com and then invite people from, at me.com, at AOL, at whatever.com. Doesn't work. I'm interested to see how this will fly. Anyway, refer 3 friends, and if they sign up, you get $20 from Amazon or iTunes.
It's a little odd.
I gotta admit, it's a little odd.
It also smells a little desperate.
A little bit.
It's like, now we're going to pay you to use our service.
Yep.
It's funny, because we should have put this on the blog. Yammer just released a new client that does a lot of the stuff that Chatter does. It's a new Air client. It allows you to do mentions. It allows you to do sort of drag and drop. So Yammer is now kind of saying, ooh, well, because Chatter made a big headway because it did a lot of stuff that Yammer did, but had clients, had these offline clients like or not offline, but has the Air client, which I rarely use, although I found and tweeted about the one thing I like about the desktop client, which is that things float to the top. Actual posts bubble up.
Right, the replies.
And someone
bubble to the top.
Someone, the Get Chatter, I guess the Twitter person for Chatter, responded to me and said, "Oh, don't you see that in your normal Chatter?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's in GA. That's not out yet." that's not gone GA. So clearly it's coming, which I think is great, because it's one of the things I don't like is I have to kind of scroll down to see if you commented on something I posted.
Right.
The kind of discussion we had last week about with all these new social networking communication tools, how do I keep up with them? I've learned for however many years I've been using email, way too many. I've learned some really good habits, and I've trained myself, read books about email, and but now it's like there's all these other ones, and you sort of have to treat them in different ways to keep up with them. So
people just tuned out because you said you read books about email.
I have productivity books. I mean, not specifically.
Tuned out.
Well, when Merlin comes out with his book, maybe we'll get him on here.
Let's get Merlin on our podcast.
You think so?
No.
It would be like a 4-hour podcast.
We wouldn't be able to get him to stop talking.
He talks a lot. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Merlin Man just wrote a book called Inbox Zero. Google him. He's pretty smart. Second to last piece of news is Pandora goes comedy. So they now have a comedy channel on Pandora.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll say this. I love me some Pandora.
I know you do.
I listen to Pandora often. In the office, particularly.
Yep.
We get the Wi-Fi, and it's good for Pandora.
It is.
Subway, not so good for Pandora. But I do not believe I will be tuning into any comedy on Pandora. Just like I have a Sirius Radio subscription.
Yes, you do.
I use Sirius Radio.
Do you have the iPhone version, or do you have the regular version?
I just have it in my car.
Your car, that's right.
Just in my car. And I would say 90 to 95% of the time it's on one of the Howard Stern channels.
Right.
Okay? Which I guess is comedy. But but it's more of a talk show format, right?
There goes your argument.
No, it's more of a talk show format. But they have a couple of these comedy channels where it's all just stand-up.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what channel that's on. I've never even turned those things on. I never would. I just don't find sitting there listening to comedy, stand-up comedy like that at all entertaining. But I'm sure there are folks that do.
And now it's on Pandora.
I wonder how it... Honestly, I do wonder how it works. Because, like, if you're listening to...
Richard Pryor,
and you give it a thumbs up...
You get more Richard Pryor.
Do you get Eddie Murphy? Do you get some Eddie Murphy?
Do you get Sam Kinison?
Yeah, like, how does that work?
Other dead ones? I don't know.
Yeah, like, I wonder if it'll work like the music algorithms where... I mean, that's part of the reason I love Pandora is because it knows me so well now because I've been using it for so long, and it knows all my, like, thumbs up, thumbs down, and it really streams me some good stuff, like stuff I don't own, stuff I would never think of, even if I did own it, putting it on. I love it for that. I wonder if it does that with the comedy, and if it can do that with the comedy, like, because when you look at a song that you like, or a song that comes on, you can see like why it chose that for you. You like melodic themes and harmonies or whatever, right? I wonder how you like cursing.
You like cursing and racial jokes.
Yeah, like it's like, ooh, what is this saying about me?
Thumbs up to Chris Rock, and then I really, that's interesting. I mean, you like Christian rock or something? It could be interesting.
You just went from Chris Rock to Christian rock.
It's right there. See,
wow.
That's a segui for you. Very few people can segui like that.
You're the master of segui.
I'm in the same boat as you in terms of I don't even know if Sirius is considered cloud technology because it's really above the clouds.
It's above the clouds.
It's stratosphere.
It's stratosphere technology. We look down on the clouds.
Space.
We spit on the clouds.
And I'm the same way. I have one channel, the NFL Network, and I listen to the NFL Network. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to the NFL Network until my wife or daughter yells at me for about a good hour and a half. And after I've used my complaint or my argument that, hey, listen, there's 4 other devices in this car, probably 2 iPhones, an iPad, and maybe an iPod Touch in the car, right, that someone's brought in. I cannot use any of them because I'm driving. I can only look out the window and back, right? I have to pay attention. I can only listen. I can't do anything else. You guys can read magazines, watch movies, play Sudoku, play Scrabble, Angry Birds. You guys can do a million things. I can only do one thing. So I get to choose what's coming out of these speakers. You want to put on your headphones and listen to the other 50,000 things? Go for it.
They just changed the channels around.
They
so
did?
like, yeah, they just moved them all around.
So it's not 124?
I don't know if they moved that. Like I said, I listened to like one channel and that one didn't move.
Okay.
So like all the other channels have moved apparently to align them with XM. So like they're now like the same across both platforms. So
because they combined.
They combined, but I'll never know. I'll have to Google the channel.
I must say I do like Pandora, and now they have ads. It's kind of interesting. So if you haven't tried Pandora, you have to try it. It's extremely fun.
It's amazing on the iPhone, on the iPad. I'm sure it's on all the other Android, RIM, what have you. Log into Pandora.com. It's fantastic.
I don't know how to get away with it license-wise, but
me neither. I mean,
somehow they must pay for it.
I have no idea how they get away with that, but they do. They get away with it.
Well, that's good. We'll see. I'm hoping that iTunes does this whole Apple does this whole cloud iTunes thing, and then basically I can have what I think is fun about Pandora, but I basically have all the music, so I just want to listen to it wherever I am. Anyway.
By the way, channel 124 is now POTUS Politics.
Oh, wow.
Unfiltered political talk. If you're looking for the NFL network, it's on 88.
Oh. Kind of strange one.
So you're gonna have to change that.
Yeah. So last story is a little interesting in that Rackspace, which is started many, many years ago as just a dedicated server place. We've talked about it before. We've talked about it in terms of service support. I've been a customer of theirs for 10 years.
Isn't our website?
Our website is hosted off of Rackspace. They used to be very dedicated hardware. Like you had a server, it was your server. It had so much processors and memory and whatever, RAID arrays.
Right.
They've been over the last 3 or 4 years getting into the cloud. They bought a company called Slicehost, which I actually used. Started by a couple guys up in, I think they were in St. Louis.
That would be down from here.
I was thinking about from Rackspace. Rackspace is in Texas.
Okay.
I know, odd, but it's where I was at. I was down in Texas with Rackspace. And they bought them, and they bought a bunch of others. They bought Jungle Disk, right, which we actually also use, so we're pretty big fans. Anyway, they're shutting Slicehost down because they're basically migrating everybody off to their new cloud servers product, which I spent some time the other day, probably bored on a Saturday. I love trying out the chat, like the customer service chat, or I just love it because I like to see how bad they are. Of course, because Rackspace is good. The guy was great. We went on this 20-30 minute conversation, and he knew exactly what he was talking about. He was quick. He looked my data up. Like he said, he knew I was a customer. I mean, this whole thing doing comparisons between, this is going to sound geeky, ready for it, between dedicated hardware and cloud servers. In terms of I/O and how much speed you could get and what kind of bandwidth you could span to. So, but it was a good conversation.
Do you have a transcript of it? Because the good ones send you a transcript in an email after the fact.
It didn't. This wasn't support. This was actually a sales call one because I went into I was looking at the cloud servers.
That's too bad because we could have posted that as a blog post.
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Me discussing literally I/O.
That would have been good.
Saying what servers I have. So they're I mean, they have a lot of cloud offerings. If you have not gone and checked out Rackspace, you think, oh, they're just dedicated hosting. They got a lot of stuff, and they do cloud files. They do, which I looked at to compete with CacheFly, but they don't allow direct access. But it's good. They have cloud servers. They have a lot of services now. They have that mail service I use too. I use their mail, which is a Gmail competitor, which is like $1 a month.
I use it as well.
Yep. Very reliable. I would even say more reliable than Gmail.
It's very good.
Pretty much. Although I don't think we ever use the web interface. Do you ever use the web interface?
Never.
All right, so
I've logged into it before to look at it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It works.
It's better than GoDaddy's email, web email.
Yeah. I literally have email wherever I go. I don't need it. Yeah. I just want it to be fast, and I want it to work. And when I send an email, I just want it to send. I don't want to think about it. All right, so that's it for the news. Kind of light week in cloud. Maybe next week will be crazy. But we have 2 CloudFocus picks of the week. One from you, one from me. Why don't you start off?
I'm really considering changing mine on the fly because of something
I see what you have written here in Google Wave.
What do you think of what I have written there? I can change it on the fly.
I think it's okay. You haven't used it yet.
No, I haven't.
You haven't even tried it. You haven't even installed it.
I haven't. So
we're in the beta.
All right, let me go to something that I've used.
You should install this, and then you should write a blog post about it next week. And
You're probably right.
It next week.
I should do that. Let me change it to this.
Want me to go?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So because we actually talked about Chatter.com and Yammer putting out a new desktop client for Yammer, I'm going to talk about Seismic Desktop.
Excellent.
So I've been playing with Seismic Desktop for the last 3-4 weeks or so, and it's a really nice product. You can download it on the Mac or on the PC, and it allows you to connect up all of your social networks and see them in one window, right? So you have one window, and this is Seismic Desktop 2, which allows you to log into Chatter, it allows you to log into Twitter, it allows you to log into LinkedIn, Foursquare, Facebook. The cool part is you can log into, like I said, Chatter, but you can log into multiple chatters.
That's nice.
So
although scary,
but nice. As consultants, we have lots of logins, and
way too many.
You can, go across and log into a few different chatter orgs if you'd like, and have it all on your Seismic Desktop, and have it, right next to your Twitter or right next to your Facebook, which could potentially be rather interesting. So I have Seismic running right now. You can post an update on the Seismic Desktop and choose where you want it to post from. If you want to post from your Twitter account, from your Facebook account, from your Chatter account, etc. Include links, includes images, what have you. You could set up all these accounts. It's a really interesting window into your social world in one app, one place.
There was TweetDeck, I think, was rumored to be bought by someone recently, which is another one of these. But yeah, Seismic, they've been at Salesforce.
They've been at the things at the conferences.
They're one of the few that can go into Chatter.
Well, they're one of the few that have done it,
right.
Have invested in doing it.
Yeah, using the API.
Yep, they go right in. I have our Chatter right here, right in front of me.
No, it's very cool. The one thing I've used the one on the iPhone. They have a Seismic Desktop. I don't think it connects up to Chatter, but I've used it because you can post to Facebook and all at the same time.
Sort of ping out to all the different services.
It is a little scary because I have multiple accounts, multiple personalities. I'm a Gemini, so there's sometimes you're talking about stuff that you don't really want to go on one social networking site. Like LinkedIn. Maybe I don't want my LinkedIn to cross over with my internal Arkus Chatter. But yeah, it's nice. I like it. I must say I'm usually using Tweety, which I know you use as well.
Well,
have you given up Tweety? Totally?
I don't use Tweety at all.
Twitter, sorry.
I use the Twitter app.
Right.
And I use the Seismic Desktop.
Why use one or the other?
Well, Seismic gets me everything else.
Okay.
Twitter only gets me Twitter.
But do you use one or the other, or do you just...
I like using the Twitter app for Twitter.
Okay.
And Seismic for other things.
For everything, including Chatter.
Mm-hmm.
Does it support the new stuff that Chatter supports, with the @s and the ant and all that?
I don't know. I generally don't post Chatter from it. So, I just read it.
Sounds like... Okay, just read it.
Yeah, I can show you right now.
Well, I have 2 picks. Which I know is against the rules, but I'm going to do it anyway.
It is against the rules. Like, I changed mine so that I could only,
Yes. Well, I have 2 picks. One I'm going to talk about because I think it's funny, and one actually I'm going to make a pick on. The funny one is a new service called Gigwalk. Have you heard of this?
No.
So this could have been a news story. I kind of forgot about it. So not because I actually went to test it today. So Gigwalk is it's an iPhone app where I think it was on Engadget today, so I downloaded and installed it. What it is, it's a iPhone app that you install. You then sign up, right, for it. You give it your PayPal address, and then there are jobs posted for you to go around with your iPhone and the camera attached to your phone and take pictures. And the jobs range in price from like $2 to $3 or to up to $30, $40 or $80. And so you literally go to a place on the map. It says there's these jobs around you. You go to one of the jobs. You then answer questions, because it's usually asking you to take pictures of like a competitor or like does this business still exist? Do they still have specials? So it's like someone who's posting it to try to find information, but they're hiring you to go do it. So I went to do it today. I wanted to try it because I thought this is fun. The two that were closest to us were trying to get information on street vendors. They were like, is Sammy's Salads still on the corner of 44th and 8th? And so I wandered over there. I started up the thing, and I was, starting to take the pictures. Then I got all freaked out that I'm taking pictures of someone and they're going to try to kill me with a knife. I didn't do it, but it's kind of a cool concept. I like it. Maybe not for the competitor stuff. Maybe if it was like taking pictures of something else, like birds or
kind of like Mechanical Turk, but
for photo and
like photos of people.
And you have to get to a certain reputation to take the big jobs. There's one right down the street for $30. I'm trying to figure, and I wanted to get to the rep to go do it because I was doing some smaller jobs first.
You're not made yet.
I'm not made yet. It's too funny. So I don't know. Sometimes people come up with this stuff, so I had to mention it.
That's a good pick.
Isn't that a good pick? But it's not really a pick. But it's called Gigwalk, G-I-G walk. My real pick of the week was something we've already tweeted about,
which I disagree with.
Which
terrible pick.
Can't disagree with.
I will read you back our Twitter exchange. Go on.
All right. Is Google Chrome Canary. So this is not a big deal because Google Chrome puts out betas, because Google Chrome does put out betas. This beta is the first beta that sits outside of the other ones. So you can sit and use this and the other one. It'll sync your bookmarks back and forth. It syncs your preferences back and forth because you can do that through Google Sync. But you can use a really cutting-edge browser, and all the new cutting-edge features are going to come to it first, get tested, because people will be testing it, because that's what you do as part of the community, is you test things, and then it sends back the reports of whether it's working or not. And then those features will then eventually get moved into Google Chrome. So this version, in essence, is always going to be 2 to 3 versions ahead. So if you want to test out what's sort of coming down the pike of Chrome, and we've talked about Chrome before, it's a little bit different than the other browsers, although Firefox started this, I think. We're having the in-updates, it updates itself. Chrome updates every day. It literally could put out a new little mini release every day. They do it behind the scenes, and they don't really tell you. You wake up, and you're on a new version, and generally you don't even notice, right? Something happened. Maybe the icon changes. When
the icons change a couple times.
Yeah.
To be clear, though, this is new just for the Mac.
It's been out for the PC, but it's now available on the Mac. It's called Google Chrome Canary. And again, the reason you would use this, because I know you're going to be like, why would you use a browser that could...
That was my tweet.
Yeah.
Why would you use a browser that you know is going to crash on you?
Because you want to use something that is to see how it works in the... I'm a time traveler. I'm Doc. I get in my DeLorean, and I time travel out like 6 months, and I use a browser. I'm like, look at this browser, so fast. It does all these cool things. Then it crashes. Then I go back and I use regular Chrome.
Yeah, it sounds like a blast.
Listen, there's stuff that's broken in some of our favorite websites, and it's because it's using some, some neat stuff. Flash doesn't work very well in it, so I tried it about 2 days, made it my full-time browser. But it's nice because you can literally run it side by side, so you don't have to give up anything. It's because of the syncing, it all just works. You don't all passwords, everything just work. So it's so easy that it's like, why not try it? And you're actually helping them make a better browser, which is really why you do it. So mine is Google Chrome Canary for the Mac or PC. Try it out. It's kind of fun to see what... I mean, didn't you used to like go and get the newest version of Firefox, like Firefox release whatever, get the release candidate or something, the beta, just to test it?
Once in a while. I like to have things that work and I know are going to work.
Then use Safari.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I use Safari and sometimes Chrome and extremely rarely Firefox. For some reason, they've fallen off for me.
They're better.
Safari really works really, really well, and Chrome's really, really good too.
Chrome has some really good extensions. Firefox has much, much better extensions.
I used to just love extensions. Yeah. Now I really don't care.
Yeah, there's some really good ones in Firefox.
I used to like go into the Firefox extension gallery like once a day and be like, "What's new? I want something."
And then you realize,
and then my browser's just dying.
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm gonna get rid of these.
All right, so that's our pick of the week and this podcast. So if you want to read any of the blog posts, including the ones from the past week, you can figure out our posting schedule. You go to blog.arkusinc.com. I actually just tried to get us picked up by Technorati. Spent a while, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
How can we not be on Technorati?
You have
Isn't
to
it just pretty simple? You
have
just
to
give
jump
them a feed or something?
You have to jump through a few hoops,
It used to
including
be-
posting a code in a blog post.
It used to be pretty simple.
Nope, they're still verifying. I had to post a code in the title of a blog post.
Honestly, I didn't even know Technorati was still around.
Yeah, they're pretty big deal.
Well, they used
Not
to
like a
be
Salesforce
really big
MVP,
deal.
but they're a pretty big deal. You want to follow the company? It's twitter.com/Arkus Inc. You want to follow me? I'm twitter.com/Jason M. Atwood. And Justin here is twitter.com/Just Edelstein. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Arkus Inc. We post our blog posts up there. We post our maybe some funny photos. I know we have a picture of Arky, our pet rock.
There he is.
So that's there. And the best way to really, if you want to keep up with the podcast, is to go to iTunes. Go to iTunes. We post the link in the podcast notes. We post it on Twitter. But you can go to iTunes, type in CloudFocus Weekly, subscribe, and then anytime we do a new episode, you'll literally get it faster than anybody else because it just instantly comes
Faster
down.
than a speeding bullet.
Faster than a speeding cash fly. But until next week, if it gets warmer and warmer here in New York City, which is nice, shorts weather, until then, enjoy those cloudy, maybe a little bit sunny days.